Good morning. Sprints 1 and 2 are behind us, and today I would like to walk you through the releases that were done in those releases so you get an idea of what has been worked on so far this year as we get closer to the third release already. I'll jump straight in. So in the system, as always, there's the What's New button, there's Sprints 2 and Sprint 1. If you press Read More, you can read more about what's in this release. I'll go into the release notes of Sprint 1. So in Sprint 1, we have made it possible. So the highlights are that we've made it possible to use less formal names. We have introduced a new payslip working tab, and we have improved the roster summary. The first one, the one I mentioned, was the using of less formal full names. So traditionally on Talexio, we've always had last name, first name. So it feels a bit off in many cases where it's a bit too formal. We didn't want to change this for everyone at one go, so now there's a setting and you can choose to use the less formal names of first name, last name as an option. I believe new clients that register will automatically have this on. Um, we've also introduced a new way of seeing all the workings relating to a payslip. So from the payroll section, and there's a small GIF here to show that, when you have a payslip open, where you edit the payslip, there's a small icon up there that says payslip workings, and when you press it, you get to see the breakdown of all the workings. This should go a long way in answering questions that users might have around how is something calculated. We find that in most cases we just need to direct people to the right place to find the calculation. So this covers a lot of questions that we get around how something is calculated. Um, yes, there's some small things there around editing of payroll report templates. It's now possible to manage those. And something also quite interesting is that now there's a new notification email um, that is optional, which would notify people, employees, and managers that they forgot to punch in. So this can be quite useful as well. It's a setting and it needs to be switched on at a global level in the organization. So if I go into settings from the organization, in the section time and attendance, there's this clocking reminder new notification. If I switch it on, people will start being notified and their managers as well for not punching in. We also introduced a new roster summary in the TN day scheduler. So we already had in time and attendance, we already had these were already clickable, and you click these and you can access a report. In the past, we had these two tabs, which are daily breakdown and group by cost center. So it gives you a forecast of how much your shift, your roster will cost you. But now we've added this interesting new summary that gives you a breakdown by employee and their totals, how many hours, how much leave, how many working days, and you can even read more to see a breakdown by the shift type as well. So this could be really useful information for people doing their rosters. That's the roster summary. In training management, there's some new bike actions, nothing major, but it still makes things easier to do. Um, in performance management, we've introduced a new type of objective, which is a parent objective, where the target of that objective is automatically calculated. So historically, you could create objectives and set a value on each one. So in performance management, if I go to the objective section, um, you could have an objective, and whenever you want, you can update the number to set the target value. Target date, numeric. This one is a yes no. So with current value, I can make it no or yes. If it was numeric, I could have a target and the current value. But now we've introduced based on targets of child objectives. So if you have an objective that has child objectives, let's see. I think one of these could be in it. Efficiency. And if I open this one, does it have a parent? This one doesn't have a parent, but if I open this efficiency, this is the parent of the other one. So instead of having a target on this one as well, I could base it on the child objective. So when someone updates that, the score will be done automatically for this one. Um, this is useful when you have a parent objective with multiple child objectives, not when there's only one. This was a request that came from MPS and it's now supported in Talexio. Um, In the inside space, there's some more downloads available. So that's it of Sprint One. That's the whole list of features in Sprint One. Sprint Two, which was released only 7 days ago. So on the 13th of February, in Sprint 2, we introduced a really cool feature which allows people to schedule payslips in advance. I believe in the release notes in the what's new, there's a video attached that gives you a summary of how this works. Um, we've also made it easier to edit shifts. I'll explain in a second, and we've introduced yet another email notification. So by doing this, we're making the nudges a bit more complete in Talexio. Um, there's some improvements to the employee bulk upload. This probably you will not use much, but there's a place where now it's better to do a bulk upload, and this usually affects the initial onboarding of a client. The organizational chart has some new controls to show and hide deleted departments. Payslip scheduling. This is really cool. So let's say your payslip, you want to send it um, on Friday, but on Friday you're on leave as the payroll person. So traditionally you had to log on that date to actually send the payslips. Now you can schedule them up front. So when you finalize your payroll, you can say, I want to email the payslips to other employees and I want to schedule this at a future date. So you wouldn't do it now, you will do it in the future. This is really useful. It also does take care of saving the documents in the right place at the right time. So this is quite a unique feature, and I believe it really make the life of the payroll executive much easier. Um, some information around the end of year process, some improvements there. Uh, Editing shifts. So if you're using T&A rosters, typically on Talexia, if you needed to change a shift, you had to unpublish it, make the change, and then publish it again. Now it's possible to make edits to shifts without going through this process. So if I'm in my time and attendance section, assuming I have some shifts here, yes. So this is a published shift, it's currently published, and I'm able to edit it now. It warns you that this is already published, so no emails will be sent from this change, but I can now easily make a change to this shift um, without having to publish and publish and all that flow, right? Which we heard from our clients, which was a bit tedious. So that's another important improvement. Um, there was a notification already for clocking for not punching in the one we mentioned in the last sprint and this sprint, which was improved so that it doesn't send it if the person's on leave. So that's something we identified from the feedback after the last release. Um, some small changes to leave, not very consequential. Copy paste and announcements, it's now much better. This was a recurring frustration of mine as well, where I wanted to create an announcement and I copy paste it and then I lose all the formatting. Now it's much better. Um, and I've used it after and I really enjoyed being able to paste properly. And the last thing here is the email reminder. We've introduced another reminder. This one goes um, to managers who have people reporting to them, telling them that they have leave which they did not approve. So besides the initial email you receive in the first time, now you can get also another email. Um, let's say your people are not approving their leave, they leaving it there empty. There's a reminder, so you can nudge them that they still have things to approve. Obviously, in some of these, there's links in the support center which explain a bit in more depth how the feature works. If I go in the system itself as well, I believe it's in the settings section. Let me double check. Yes, there's an email box. And there's three types of, there's the third reminder. These were there already, but this is the new reminder. And if I set it on, I can set when um, the reminder should be sent. So I could say at 8 a.m., remind people that they have um, leave requests that they have not yet approved. That's basically it. So that's a run through of all the features that were developed in sprints 1 and 2. Sprint 3 is around the corner, so stay tuned for more. Thank you.